Some have said that across-the-board tax cuts during this recession would be bad fiscal policy. Do you agree or disagree with this, and why?
We need to cut taxes, and we need to start now across the board. But as I always say, for every dollar we cut in taxes, we have to cut at least the same amount in spending. Otherwise, we're never going to shrink the size of this government and get money back to main streets like New Dorp Lane or 3rd Avenue in Brooklyn. The time is now to cut taxes, especially for the residents of New York, Staten Island, and Brooklyn specifically. You know we pay the second highest combined tax rate in the country? You and I know this. Jobs are fleeing to New Jersey. Customers are fleeing to New Jersey where there's no sales tax. And we're losing out. We're losing businesses and we're losing innovation right here on Staten Island. So I believe we have to cut across the board, starting with personal income taxes. Personal income taxes help families, but they also help small businesses, so many of which are constituted as S corporations, meaning that individuals pay the taxes for their company. Next, we have to go after the capital gains tax. We need to incentivize investment in America's companies, not de-incentivize it. Third, we have to go after the corporate tax rate. Business, big or small, they generate jobs, they help Americans stay and work. We have to cut the corporate tax rate. As to the national sales tax and other European-style taxes, we have to stand firm against them. And you know what I'm talking about. The VAT, or as I like to say, the Vanish America tax. We also have to kill, once and for all, the death tax. Don't you want to pass something on to your kids? Well, we pay tax on that money already. The death tax is wrong. We need to repeal it permanently. And finally, there's the alternative minimum tax. You know, this tax was created almost a generation ago, when incomes were very different. And now folks in the middle class are getting dinged with a tax for which they were never intended. Across the board, we need to cut taxes for future generations, for investment, for Staten Island, and for great streets like here, main streets like New Dorp Lane.
With the CBO predicting large deficits in our future, do you believe that the time is right to make meaningful spending cuts in the federal budget, or do you think the current spending levels are necessary to keep the economy moving? Without being overly specific, where and how would you cut excess spending?
As a proud Reagan Republican, I know that government's not part of the solution. In fact, it's part of the problem. You know, so many New Yorkers, we're all being forced to do a little bit more with a lot less. We've reevaluated how we spend our money, how we manage it, whether it's our credit cards, our mortgages, our car loans. The government just doesn't seem to get it. They just keep doing more and more with more and more. That needs to change. McMahon, Pelosi, Obama, and this Democrat machine, they just honestly believe that they can spend us out of a hole. You and I know that we can do better than that, and that that's not the answer. I believe that we need to create private sector jobs. We need to put money back into the economy, and we need to cut spending, and we need to do it now. Mike McMahon, on the other hand, he believes quite the opposite. In 2 votes alone, cap and trade and stimulus, we're talking about $1.5 trillion in more spending. Well, that's not right. I have a plan, it's a simple one. Start cutting and start now. Whether it's public entitlement programs or rooting out waste and fraud in this government, there is a lot of money to save, and we need to get it back. We're spending money we do not have. Current projections say $20 trillion by 2015 in debt. Can you even get your head around that? These are huge numbers. We're borrowing from other countries that don't have our best interest at heart, and it needs to stop now. Join me, and let's start doing what needs to happen.